So I'm having a chat with Brooks of Mayday Parade. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Pleasure is all mine. And we're having a little chat because we've started playing a new single of yours called By the Way. Tell us a bit about the single.
It's one of a couple. Well, it's our second single that we released on the first EP that we're putting out on. It's the and the EP is called Sweet, right? And it's a series that we're sort of doing, and we're trying a bit of a different approach here with things. But I suppose we've been a bit more inspired. I think that we have a lot of creativity within our band. We all are writers, and we've spent a lot of time putting music together and getting better as writers, we feel. And so we're going to put out, three different EPs over a period of time. And this is just kind of getting the ball rolling, particularly with, by the way, um, I'm extremely excited by the song, about the song. I think it has such a great feeling. I've never been so sort of captured by a piano riff. I usually would not call piano parts riffs, but
hmm
it feels like it intros in with this riff, and that's a really exciting thing that Derek put together. And yeah, it's great. It gives you all the aspects that I love about songwriting.
Nice, nice. And these three EPs you're releasing, which will make up a full album at the end of it, do they all sound different? And was it the plan to do that?
It's a bit of conceptually. I think we had sort of this cool concept around it, which doesn't really, I can't really reveal all the pieces, I suppose. It would be way too early to do that. But I think that conceptually we have like a great thematic idea that we'd like to complete with the three EPs together. And then on top of it, we've never been great at doing like a concept record or anything like that, and nor do I think some bands have done great with that. If I think of like Coheed and Cambria, right, for like the first sort of band that pops up in my head with that sort of mentality. But like we just write what we think sounds really good, and we hope it fits into what we're doing, and maybe we make slight little steering decisions that can help bring it into focus with whatever that vibe is and theme is.
Nice. And what was the reason behind splitting them up in this way? Because it's not your conventional. I know there's some artists who have started to do this sort of thing, but what was the reasoning for yourselves?
I think it was a bit more of continuing to put out music. We tried doing singles, right? We tried to do a bit of like a 3 song EP type release, and we've done singles here and there. And whereas that feels great, it doesn't always make sense. And after all, we do have to consider like how we spend our time, in the studio versus touring versus writing versus family, right? And it's like there's all these seasons in our lives, and it feels like it's like phases, right? There's like 4 phases of life as we go through our year. And I think that when we were the album has obviously been like a tried and true, like traditional way of releasing music. Singles have also been that. So we tried to go more to that model. I think the music world had been on that model for a moment, right? And I think we can mold that around. Like maybe we'll try the single route. By the time we got to doing the single route, it felt to me like the world had kind of moved on past that formatting, right? Or that like type of digestion of artists' music. And so we're kind of doing this in between thing where we want to continue to do this feeling of rolling out singles on a continual basis, like where you keep the fans' attention and keep them excited and engaged, while not just releasing a single, but also not releasing just an album and letting it sit for a year or 2 years, right? So this gives us kind of this in between model.
Yeah, yeah, and it's probably the best way to do it considering there's lots of streaming and lots of content people are wanting. So I would suggest it's probably the right way to go.
Yeah, and we're excited about it, and we'll see. Only the time will tell. And like most things in music and in success in our career, it's been about windows, and you can write great music and it should stand up for itself. I think that's a big thing, you know. But as far as like how you roll it out, concepts and all that, and like imagery and theming, that's all great and fun and engaging, but it really just comes down to the songs, you
Yeah.
know. At least we hope. I don't know. I guess we live in a TikTok age, so I'm not so sure that it's just about the song anymore, but it should be.
Yeah, it should be indeed. Tell us a bit about the writing as well. How do tracks normally start off for you guys?
The writing process, you
Yeah,
mean, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So, it depends. So this, by the way, is a Derek song. He's a great writer. I think he's very much what the sound of Mayday Parade is, and I think that we as writers around him usually try to elevate a song, you know, and make it better, give it its max potential. It's kind of like you've got five songwriters in a room, and we don't do the co-write sort of session thing, with outside people. We have dabbled in it. We've experimented with it, and we've cut things that have influence from the outside, but it's so few and far between, and it's not really our thing. But if we had anything sort of conceptually that or towards that sort of style of writing, it's internally with the band, where the you got a guy like Derek who brings in the song, and then we are all nitpicking it or not nitpicking it. And specifically with this one, I think it got pretty dang close to what he brought in. I do know there was some changes. Producers always have an influence, and we're always working with Zach and Ken, for the majority of our career, and I think that's a great sort of partnership. And they help keep that sound that everybody is used to, that Mayday Parade has, even if we evolve, or go a little outside our envelope, with songs, through our career. But this is one example where it got pretty dang close, and then the band kind of just made little bits better. There's plenty of other examples where I will bring in a song, for instance, and we just did it on the last session where I bring in a song. It's really dang close, and like I've experimented with these lyrics at the end of the chorus or something, and I decided to use like a it instead of you or your, right? And then somebody in the band goes, "Should you just say your?" And then Ryan, like, make sure you say your again in the second line. I was like, well, I thought about it, but I was in my own brain writing the song right here in this basement with nobody to bounce off of. And I'm glad that I have you here now to help me feel like somebody else to bounce off of, to say, hey, if you change that one word right there, that hits it. That's like that doesn't knock it out of the park. It's like makes it sound like it's like some amazing song, but it hits the nail on the head. You know what I mean, kind of thing, and drives the story home. So there's tons of those examples. Or, you know, more like a Crash is a song where Derek had a great thing going on with his chorus. The chorus was what it was, but then there wasn't that whole do ooh ooh yeah sort of thing at the end. And Jake was like, "What if we put that at the very end?" And I lit up, when that happened. I was like, that makes that song to me. I mean, the song would have been great otherwise, but there's these little moments that songs need that we all try to work together to make better.
yeah, absolutely. And you've stuck with the same lineup pretty much throughout the entire 20 years of you guys being together. How has the band evolved over those years?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we just kind of got a little bit more understanding, a little bit more mature, in some ways maybe less fun. I don't know. Like, we used to party a lot. That was, we had the first 10 years was pretty crazy. And um you know I think we still have a great time, don't get me wrong, and we definitely still have our outs, like our outings where we have nights where we go a little crazy or go off the rails, right? But the but those are few and far between, and I think we're better, and more focused on what we do as a business. And when I say business, what I mean is like providing what we think is best for our music and for our touring and for our fans. And I think that's something that that takes you had the partying before, but like that now the focus kind of takes the place of that, and in a lot of ways is a lot more. I have a lot more fun with that, than I do just riding a wave where you come in, you do pretty great on your debut record, and like of course you're still writing good music, and that's what's kept us alive as a band, and the fans love it, and maybe some of those stories that came out of those years are a big part of that. But now it's a different side of that. Now it's like, let's write the best songs we possibly can, and you're never going to recreate like what you did in the early days, and nor should you, because honestly, when you hear people try to recreate stuff, it always feels like this, like it always comes across as like this failed knockoff. So I guess we're always just trying to be better,
Mm.
is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you get the chance to play some new music live when you head out on tour from April onwards across the States. I bet you can't wait to be on the road again.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of thing's a love-hate relationship, right? So like we are excited to by all means to go out on the road for sure. Um, and represent our music in a bigger way than we ever have gotten to do. And but yeah, like all things, it's so funny because like when you're in the studio, you're like stoked to go on the road, and then when you're on the road, you're like stoked to go back into the studio, and then when you're done with those two, you're like stoked to go home, and finding that balance is tough, but I think with this being such a cool tour coming up, we'd be able to do like great production on it. Tickets are selling fast. You know, the only thing is 6 weeks for us. Is like it's gonna be a little bit like it's gonna be a trek. You
Mm.
know what I mean? But it's time to like hunker down and like get to business. And I think that with the new music, we were never not gonna tour. Like put it this way, like I could say I have a love hate relationship with touring all I want, right? But all our fans know all we do is tour. So
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And it's just the States that you've got booked in at the moment. Are you hoping to come back here to the UK and Europe sometime soon?
always. And yeah, again, right? Like just like the fans, the UK, Australia, and the US is like a no-brainer. And you could probably, I don't know if they have, if you have betting apps, but you could probably, if there's some crazy side bets you can put down, you know, people could probably try to predict the month that we will come back to the UK, right? They could probably predict the month that we will come back to Australia, because it's on our schedule. It's as soon as we're done with the UK, we're already considering, okay, so when is the next time that we can actually go back?
Mm.
And then we have to like calculate and figure it out. And it's been like clockwork our whole career, at least since we were there for the very first time with Given a Name.
Mm. Yeah, nice. Brooks, it's been a pleasure having a catch up with you.
Yeah, thanks, Jem. I appreciate you.